Hola amigas y amigos y bienvenidos a esta lección sobre la diferencia entre los dos verbos más comunes en el idioma español, ser y estar. So yeah, hi there friends. As mentioned before, we're going to be talking about the difference between these two probably most common verbs in the Spanish language, ser versus estar. So let's go ahead and see where the problem arises. Here we see the word ser means to be, and estar means to be, but ser does not mean estar. They both translate as to be, however, they are not synonyms one of the other. So let's see what's going down here. This isn't the first time we've seen this conundrum. In fact, in our last semester, we had this slide, hopefully you'll remember it from the video before, where the professor is using that be verb, that apostrophe S, means is, obviously. And so he's saying, how is the class? Imagine they've just come back from lunch or they've just entered the classroom. Hey, how's the class? Here, as we recall from before, he's asking how they're doing. In contrast to this one, where this girl is asking her friends who are perhaps taking the class, it says the exact same words, how's the class? But she means something very different. She's looking for a description of the class in this case. So, here, ¿Cómo está la clase? When he's asking how the class is doing, he is asking for the class's status, estatus, and he uses está. In the next case here, ¿Cómo es la clase? What is the class like? Asking for a description. She is asking for attributes of the class. Things like it's interesting, or it's boring, or it's long, or it's short. All kinds of different descriptions here that we could apply, but we're going to use es when asking for that kind of description. So just to review, when we're asking for the status of something, asking how it's doing, we'll use estar. When we are asking for a description of attributes, we are going to use ser. So, yes, they are both used for to be or for your be verbs, ser and estar, but they're used in these two different ways. So let's see if we can practice this a little bit. Just to remind you, ser is for attributes, atributos, and estar is for estatus. Look, the word estatus almost has the entire word of estar in it. It's got está right there. Estatus uses estar. So let's have a look here. Of these sentences, 2, 4, 6 sentences here, I have got a mix of ones that describe attribute and ones that describe status. So I want you to take in your mind, make a mental note, pause the video, and try to see which ones of these are attributes. Which of these describe an attribute? Now I'm going to pause, or I encourage you to pause the video in here shortly because I'm about to show you the answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These right here are the sentences that describe attributes. Now let's look at what I mean by that. I say Mark is a bad man. Here, I'm not saying that Mark is doing well or he's doing poorly. I'm talking about his character, an attribute that makes up who he is. The next one, Emily is funny. Well, here I am describing an attribute of Emily. Okay, I'm not saying that she's being silly right now. I'm saying that she is a funny person, describing her identity, her attributes. In contrast, on letter C, Ignacio is sick. Well, here I'm describing his status, how he is doing in the moment, all right, what he's like right now. Versus, I'm not saying he's a sickly human being. I am saying that he is, at the moment, he's a sick person. Letter D, Carla and Tito are siblings. Well, this relationship is very much part of their identity. It's an attribute of who they are, so we're going to use ser here. Now, letter E, Leo and I are tired. Ah, now look here, tired? That doesn't describe who I am as a person. That's not one of my attributes. That's just my status. If I am tired and Leo is tired, that just means we are describing how we are in the moment. Letter F, she is a happy person. Well, here again, we are describing a quality of her personality, an attribute that makes up who she is. And remember, with atributos, we always use ser. All right, so let's try the other side of the coin now. Estar. Now, estar, this deals with status. Estatus is how you say status in Spanish. So let's have a look through these really fast and see if you can tell me which of these refer to the status of the people or the subjects, not as opposed to the attributes. I'm going to flip the screen here. So pause. I'm flipping the screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here are the answers, folks. All of these deal with status, except for letter B. Tyrese and I are busy. Again, notice the fact that us being busy has nothing to do with who we are as people. It doesn't define our attributes, simply what we are like in the moment, how we're doing in the moment. Letter B, Milo is a hard worker. Well, that does describe how Milo is as a person. It describes a quality of his character. It describes un atributo. Letra C, Marcos is excited. Okay, so that he's not an excitable person, he's just excited in the moment. Here, excited doesn't describe his personality, but rather his condition, his status. Cynthia is ready to go. She is ready. Well, again, that has nothing to do with who she is as a person, just how she is in the moment. Letter E, Andrew is at the bank. His location has nothing to do with who he is as a person. So that word is right there would be translated está. Andrew está. And letter F, my pet fish is dead. Okay, so now, this one's probably the trickiest of them all. And here I have it marked as status, and indeed it is. Conditions of being alive or dead, that's how you are doing. And it doesn't get much worse than dead. A lot of times, people get confused about the difference between ser and estar because, well, they've been taught wrong. I know teachers who have taught that ser is long term and estar is short term, but that's not the case. All right. Here we see an example of that with letter F. My fish being dead, that's pretty long term, right? Pretty permanent, actually. However, it still uses estar because we are describing how the fish is doing. He's dead. We're describing the conditions under which the fish finds himself, or in this case doesn't find himself because he can't find anything at all being dead. But it still is the condition of his state. It does not describe his personality or who it is as an animal, but rather the status of that fish. All right, so let's have a quick little summary, wrap this up. Ser and estar, they both translate as to be. Those are our be verbs, am, is, and are. But they do not mean the same thing. They don't equal each other. Because, well, let me see if I can move my little picture here. There we go. It's convenient. Ser is used when describing attributes, and estar is used when describing status. All right? Ser, atributo. Estar, estatus. All right, folks. That wraps it up for us. Gracias por su atención. Hasta la próxima lección.